Hey guys, it's Julia. So today's video is going to be something that is super exciting to me. I am trying out 7 different full coverage foundations from Sephora over a 7-day time period. So I wanted to give you guys a bunch of different foundation reviews by doing 7 wear tests on 7 days. So each day I'm trying out a new foundation. These are all full coverage foundations that are high-end brands from Sephora. So I wanted to give you guys the reviews on very expensive foundations that have a lot of coverage, and I want to basically show you guys what's good. These are all cruelty-free foundations. Some of them I have tried before, some of them I haven't tried before, some of these are first impression wear tests, some of them are just reviews of foundations I've already used before. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It was a lot of fun to put together. I had a lot of fun trying out 7 different foundations over the span of a week. I got some opinions from some of my friends, some family members, just people in my daily life. I asked them, how does my skin look? I am planning on doing this with drugstore foundations as well, so I'm gonna start putting that together, and I'll probably have that maybe in 2 weeks or so. As far as I know, no one else has done this video except for Mia Maple. She's a Canadian YouTuber, I believe. I think she did a video called like trying out 7 different cult favorite like drugstore foundations, but she hasn't done anything with high-end, so I want to do that one. I really like her video. She's so funny. She's so adorable. I will link her down below. But yeah, let's get right into this video. Foundation number 1 is the Becca Ultimate Coverage Complexion Cream. I am in the shade Sand, which is, I believe, the 3rd lightest shade. It is a light shade with yellow undertones. So Becca was actually kind enough to send this over to me in PR through Octoly, and I was very excited to receive this one. I have heard some conflicting reviews about this foundation. Some people hate it, some people love it, some people are kind of meh about it. I just wanted to try it out for myself. I haven't heard a lot of things about Becca's foundations. I've only really heard about the luminous one, the Aqua Luminous foundation, so I wanted to try out the full coverage one just because it seemed like a really interesting, this is day 1. Day 2 is the Marc Jacobs Remarkable Foundation, and I don't actually own this foundation. I don't have a full-size bottle, so I actually went to Sephora and I picked up a sample size. I didn't want to buy a full bottle of a foundation that I wasn't sure if I was going to like. I've never tried this one before, so this was day number 2. I have the shade 14. I tried to keep everything to a good shade match, and honestly, high-end foundations are a lot easier to find a very precise shade match for more people, so they have a better shade range at like Sephora than they do at the drugstore, with the exception of a few brands. I was able to find really precise shade matches in all the foundations, so that was good. And then the only other brand that I don't have the full-size bottle of for this foundation trial is the Urban Decay All Nighter Foundation. This is day number 3. I have the shade 1.5. This one is a favorite of so many people that I watch here on YouTube. Andrea Mattiano and a bunch of other people really like this foundation, and I've never tried it out, so I wanted to try out the Urban Decay one. I've never tried any of Urban Decay's like complexion products besides the concealer, so this one I was really excited about, and this is day number 3. Day number 4 is the Huda Beauty Faux Filter Foundation. I have tried this one out before. I really do like this one, and I wanted to do a wear test to see how it lined up with the other ones, just to see what my thoughts would be just compared with other foundations. So in the Huda foundation, I'm in the shade Shortbread. This foundation is a favorite of Nikki Tutorials and a lot of other beauty YouTubers, so I wanted to try this one out as well. Day number 5 is the Mercier Flawless Fusion Ultra Longwear Foundation. This one is a favorite of Tarte, I believe. She really loves this one, and I got this one for Christmas, and I was really liking it in the month of January. I actually mentioned this one in my January favorites, but I kind of stopped using it, so I wanted to see if I still liked it, because opinions change all the time. Personally, I have many products in my collection that I used to like a lot, and now I just realized probably aren't the right thing for me. So this one I wanted to try out again just to see if I still liked it, because I haven't used it in a long time. In the Laura Mercier foundation, I wear the shade 1W1 Ivory. I think this is one of the lightest shades in the collection. Number 6 are one of my favorite foundations in my collection, the Hourglass Vanish Stick Foundation. I have the shades Bisque and Shell. I use both of them on my face because these mixed together are my favorite shade match. I actually consider this to be my number 1 favorite in my collection. So I wanted to include it in this trial just because I wanted to see how it would line up with the other ones, maybe see if anything dethroned it as my favorite foundation, and this is day number 6. And then day number 7 is the Fenty Beauty Pro Filter Foundation. This one I haven't used on its own in a long time. I think the last time I used it alone was maybe January, so I wanted to see if this one was still a favorite. This one is actually kind of medium to full coverage, but on my skin it's kind of full coverage because this one I use about 1.5 pumps and it covers a lot. So I did consider this one to be full coverage. I wanted to see how it lined up with all the other ones. This one is actually a matte finish foundation, and from what I remember, it is very matte. So this one, I wanted to see how it would line up with the other ones, and this is day number 7. I am in the shade 140, which I believe is the 5th lightest shade. So let's get started with the wear test, and we're going to start with day number 1. Okay, so I've just applied some of the Becca Ultimate Coverage Complexion Cream in Sand on my face, and I'm just going to blend it out here on camera. Okay, so this is the side without foundation, this is the side with foundation. I think you can obviously see a big difference. This one covered up a lot. So far, it's looking really nice on the skin. It doesn't look super cakey or anything. I'm just going to finish up the other side of the face, and then we'll get started with the wear test. So a big test for me is how well my cream contour, my concealer, all my other face products apply on top of the foundation. The cream contour blended out really well. It wasn't difficult to work with at all, and sometimes with like really thick full coverage foundations, that can be an issue. Concealer also didn't really have a problem. Everything blended really nicely, so I'm just going to set this with powder and then get started on the wear test. Okay, so the rest of my makeup is applied. I have my eyeshadow on. Just looking at it, my forehead looks a little bit cakey, which is not normally something that happens after applying my foundation and it being there for 30 minutes, so I don't really know what's going on. I'm going to try and just apply some setting spray. Hopefully that'll help melt down everything and make it look more like my skin. But as of now, forehead's looking a little cakey, cheeks look amazing, everything else looks fine. Just the forehead, there's a little bit of product buildup here, and that doesn't normally happen. So maybe I applied too much powder. I don't really think so because I didn't really set that much. So I'm just going to use a little bit of Urban Decay All Nighter, and we'll see if that does anything. Alright, so now I'm just going to begin the official wear test. I'm going to be wearing this until like 4 o'clock in the afternoons. It's like 8:30 right now, so got a couple hours left. I'll just give you guys regular updates whenever I just have time to vlog. I'll just show you guys my face, what the foundation looks like. Let's get started. Okay, so we are at the 9-hour mark. I've been wearing my foundation for 9 hours. It's now 5 o'clock, and I put my foundation on at 8:30. So here's what my face looks like. I think it actually looked pretty good throughout the day, with the exception of my forehead. That might just be because I applied a lot of foundation on my forehead, because I did one side to show you guys. I might have applied too much, so that might just be due to human error, but my cheeks looked really good throughout the day, and my nose looked really good throughout the day. I think it looks really pretty on the skin. So I will try it again and maybe try and finesse it a little better on the forehead. It covered up a lot of stuff. It just looked really nice throughout the day, and when my oil started to come through, it didn't look really gross and greasy. It just looked like kind of healthy. So I think this is a really pretty foundation. I do think it gave a good amount of coverage, and I think my skin reacted pretty well with it. Really good first impression, and I think it's really pretty. Alright, so we're going to blend out the Marc Jacobs Remarkable foundation on one side. Okay, so here's the side with the foundation, here's the side without the foundation. You have to work in sections because it does dry down pretty fast. So I had to just add a couple of sections on my cheek, on my chin, pretty much everywhere, because it did dry really quickly. Overall, it looks very full coverage. It covered up pretty much all my imperfections. I'm gonna go do this side, and then I will go show you guys the finished result. Okay, so I finished my makeup. I applied all my stuff. This is my face completely done. Here's what the foundation looks like. I think it looks very, very full coverage, but it does look like makeup. So if you're wanting a very full coverage foundation that doesn't look like you're wearing like a ton of makeup, I think this is not gonna be for you. I don't know if that's just the sheer amount of product I apply, but I think I did go in with a very light hand. I used less than 1 pump. As my oils wear throughout the day, it'll look a little bit more natural, but as of now, I think it just feels very heavy. It does look like a full beat foundation, so if you really like Instagram makeup like this and dramatic makeup, you might like this one. Or if you have a lot of imperfections on your face, this is extremely, extremely full coverage. I'm gonna wear this throughout the day. I will give you guys my updates, and just for now, with my face done, I'm just like not loving it. Okay, so it's about 5 o'clock, so I've been wearing my foundation again for about 9 hours or so. I haven't blotted once or powdered today, so this is how my face looks. On my cheeks, I think it looks really good. I do, as you can see, look pretty shiny, so I would probably powder on my cheeks at least throughout the day. Besides that, I think it did wear a little bit better than I thought it was going to, but the whole day I felt like it felt super heavy on my skin. Like I was waiting for 5 o'clock so that I could take off my foundation because it just felt so heavy. Maybe if I was like out and about, I probably wouldn't notice it, but I was just sitting down and studying all day, so it really did feel very heavy and I couldn't wait to take it off. My number 1 tip for applying this one is go in with a very, very light hand. You really don't need, I think even 1 pump would be too much, so go in with a very, very small amount, blend it out with your beauty sponge, and then add more where you need it. So now I'm going to wash it off and you'll see me again tomorrow. Okay, so here is my face with the foundation, and here's my face without the foundation. I think there's a pretty clear difference. This one has a lot of coverage. It does look a little bit lighter if you can't see. I did go one shade down from what I normally wear because I did hear that this one oxidizes. So far, I think it blended out really nicely. It wasn't that hard to work with. I'm gonna do the other side of my face and then let you know after I finish my makeup. Okay, so it's now like 2 hours later, it's 7:30. I put my foundation on, everything applied really nicely over the top, cream contour and everything. I'm just gonna wear it until like 5 o'clock, so this is gonna be a bit longer of a wear test, about 12 hours, and we'll see how it holds up. So far, I think it looks pretty nice. After I applied powder, it didn't like look terrible on my skin, as it did when I first applied it, so we'll see how it lasts, but so far I'm liking it more than yesterday's foundation. Okay, I am so glad that I remembered to record my 5 o'clock check-in because I almost just washed my face off. So this is what the foundation looks like. I've been wearing it since 5 in the morning and now it is 5 o'clock in the afternoon. So a full 12-hour wear test. This one's a little bit longer, so just take that into account. My face, I want to say it looks like pretty shiny. I didn't powder at all throughout the day or blotch. Just went to all my classes and work. So it's been a long day. I'm really tired and my face looks decent. I think the cheeks held up pretty well. Just overall, I'm not really impressed with how it looked throughout the day. In the morning, it felt kind of not wonderful. It just looked like it was sitting on top of my skin. And then throughout the day, as my natural oils came through, it did look nice and glowy, but I think a lot of people were commenting that my skin looked pretty shiny when I asked them for their honest opinion. So overall, I don't know if I would wear this one again. I'm gonna give it a 6 out of 10 just because it's not the best, but I'm gonna go wash this off now and see you tomorrow. Okay, so I'm gonna be using the Huda Beauty Faux Filter today. Here's what my face looks like with the foundation. Here's what my face looks like without. Very full coverage, but on first impression it feels nice and light on the skin. It doesn't feel super heavy. I really like how this one looks. I've tried this one before and I already know that I love it. So this is what it looks like and this is what it looks like. I'm gonna do the rest of my face. Okay, so here is my full makeup look for the day. I'm wearing the Huda Beauty Faux Filter today and I think it looks really good. This one is my favorite finish so far. Just on first impression, it applied very smoothly. It didn't feel super thick on the skin. I will say that it does have a scent to it, so if you're very sensitive to smells, your face is going to smell like cloves. Personally, I don't mind that. I like the scent, but if you are sensitive to smells or if you have allergies to certain scents, I would say avoid this one. But so far, I really like the finish. I think it looks good. I will give you guys an update at 5 o'clock. Hey guys, so here is my 11-hour check-in. I think I've been wearing this for a straight 11 hours. This is what the Huda Beauty Faux Filter looks like after a very long wear test. My forehead, it looks pretty good. I obviously have stars on my cheeks, so you can't really see the foundation underneath it, but I think this one has actually held up the best out of the 4 that I've tried. We're on day 4, so I can't really say definitively out of all the 7 foundations which is the best, but so far this one is my favorite. I really like how it wore throughout the day. I got a lot of good compliments. Honestly, I feel like I could go on wearing this foundation for another couple hours and it would still look fine, so that's a really good sign. So I didn't really have any problems with this foundation. I think it wore really well, and now I'm going to go remove it along with all the stars on my body, but I hope you guys enjoy this one and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Good morning guys. Today I'm using the Mercier Flawless Fusion Ultra Longwear Foundation. I've used this one before, of course. I think all the foundations from Huda Beauty I've all used before, so this one I've used before. I don't remember if I liked it or not. It's not a go-to for me, so let's see how it looks. So this is extremely hard to blend. I'm not sure if you can see it on camera. Literally sitting on top of my skin, it just feels very dry. It's hard to blend, and it's just not looking good. So I honestly, this is the worst application experience I've had this week, so I think I might actually wipe this off, try again, maybe use a little bit more product or go in sections. So that's what I'm gonna do, and then I'll check back in with you guys and see how it looks. But this is the coverage so far. It looks fine from far away, but like up close, my skin is a nightmare with this foundation on, so not liking it so far. Wow, I am a bad vlogger, so I forgot to give you guys the update of what my face looked like after I did my makeup. So this is the 5 o'clock check-in, so I've been wearing this foundation for a good 11 hours, and just looking at this, I think this might be one of the worst foundation days I've had in a while. My skin looks really oily. I think despite the foundation looking very dry when I first applied it, like my skin looked downright powdery and really dry throughout the day. I had a lot of people comment that my skin actually looked really dry, but around, I want to say like 3 o'clock, my oils just came through and now I look really greasy and gross, and it didn't let my oils through in a way that looked nice. I'm just going to say that this foundation is probably not for me. I think it's not really jiving with my skin type. It just did not look good throughout the day. It looked really dry on my forehead and my nose and basically everywhere that matters. I think the only place it looked nice was on my cheeks, and even then it was just really hard to blend out, and yeah, I just had a lot of issues with this one. So that's kind of sad because this is one of the most expensive foundations. And I don't know, I was really liking it in January. At least I thought I was liking it in January. So this is what it looks like. Just not the best foundation day that I've had in a while. Good morning, guys. So today I'm using the Hourglass Spanish Stick Foundation. I apologize for some background noise because my delightful housemate will not turn off their podcast. So I'm just gonna blend this out. Obviously I have some on my face, and then I'll show you guys the half and half. Okay, so here is the half and half. This side has the foundation, this side does not. I think there's a really big difference between the look of my forehead. I think it looks really nice and natural on the skin. This one is one of my favorite foundations. It just blends in so easily, and the finish is beautiful. The only problem I've ever had with this foundation is that since it's not matte, throughout the day, if my skin is particularly oily, it will show through, but I'm gonna just try and powder my face today. I will finish up my face and show you guys the finished result. Okay, so this is my face. I've been wearing the foundation for about an hour now. It applied really nicely. Contour and highlight and everything applied really nicely on top. I wasn't really concerned about that because I know I already love this foundation. Just on first impression, it feels extremely light. It feels like I'm not even wearing anything, which is good because there was a lot of coverage that went on. So I'm really liking this so far. I will check in with you guys at 5 o'clock and you guys can see how it wore throughout the day. Hey guys, so it's the end of the day. Here is my face with the Hourglass foundation. This is how it wore. I think I look really good. My oils actually came throughout the day, and I wouldn't say that's a surprise because this is not a matte formula and it's not quite as thick as the other foundation, so I'm not surprised that my oils came through, but it doesn't look bad. Not quite as long wearing as the Huda Beauty one did, just because I think that one is bound to be a little bit more long wearing, but I think the Hourglass foundation still performed very well, and I think it's my number 2 favorite right now. So I think this was a successful day. I will see you guys tomorrow for the final day of foundation. So for the final day, I am using the Fenty Beauty Pro Filter Foundation. This one's actually medium to full coverage, but on me, it is full coverage most of the time. So I'm going to be using this today with the Fenty Beauty sponge, and let's see how it looks. Okay, so here's the side with foundation, here's the side without. I think there's a really big difference, as you can see. I really like how this one looks so far. It's drying down to a nice matte finish, and the color match is pretty good as of now. I've never seen this oxidize on me, but most of the time I'm actually using this foundation as a mixing foundation, so it's been a while since I used it just alone. So we'll see how it looks throughout the day. I will show you guys the finished result after I do this side of the face and the rest of my makeup. Okay, so it's Friday. It is the last day of the foundation experiment. Today I'm wearing the Fenty one. This is what it looks like after I applied all my stuff. Cream contour applied fine. I did find that this foundation was a little bit dry, so it was not that easy to blend out, especially because I had to work in sections. So I did have some problems here on my cheeks. I'm starting to think that this is more of a mixing foundation for me if I want to make something a little bit more matte or more fit to my color, because this is a really good shade match for me. But I'll give you guys an update at 5 o'clock. With my face after the day of wear, I actually think it wore better throughout the day than my other foundations. I think I look better now than I did at the beginning of the day, so that's something. I think because it looked really dry on my face in the morning, so I'm thinking that my oils kind of came through the foundation in a way that made it look a little bit less dry throughout the day, so that's really good. I think this is really good for long wear, and I think it wore really nicely. It didn't come apart. In fact, I think the oils kind of let it settle nicely into my skin and just look a little bit more healthy and real, so I like how it looks. So overall, I think this one was a success. I'm not gonna say if it's my top favorite because I will tell you guys that in the ending clip where I kind of just consolidate all my thoughts, but overall I'm liking how this one looked. A lot of people said that my skin looked really nice towards the latter part of the day. In the morning I had someone say that my skin looked a little dry, but I think that's just because the foundation was kind of new on my skin. So overall I like this one. It's a Friday, my classes are over, I have the weekend ahead of me, and I am so ready to take off my makeup right now. So overall I liked how this day wore, and that is the end of our 7 days of foundation. So I will see you guys in the ending clip. Alright, so now that the wear tests are over, I'm going to give you guys my final thoughts. I have all my notes right here in my book that I was just journaling each day. So let's start with day number 1, which is the Becca Ultimate Coverage Foundation. This one is very full coverage and blendable. Just on first impression, I noticed that it was extremely full coverage, covered up everything. I am actually wearing this one today on my skin, so just another way to see it. This one, in my opinion, it wore very well on my cheeks. It didn't wear so well on my forehead, but I think that was more due to human error, because I did one side of my face to show you guys on camera what it looked like side by side, and then I did the other side. So I think Doing that, I might have put a little bit too much here on the forehead, but today I haven't experienced any problems with that, so this one looks really nice on my skin. Overall, I gave this one an 8 out of 10. I think it's a really good foundation. I don't know why I've seen so many bad reviews on this one. I think this one gave a good amount of coverage. It blended out really well. It looked nice and velvety on the skin, and with a nice glowy primer underneath it, which I used the Becca First Light Priming Filter. I think it looked really beautiful. I think it's a good foundation for many different skin types. Day number 2 was the Marc Jacobs Remarkable Foundation. This one, it felt pretty heavy on the skin. When I blended it out, I was surprised to see that it didn't look as heavy as it felt, I guess. It looked really amazing. I gotta admit, it just looked stunning. It covered up all my imperfections. It was extremely, extremely full coverage, which is what it promised. I only had to use about 1 pump, and even that was extreme coverage. So I would say if I were to use that foundation again, I would either use it to bring some more full coverage to another foundation, or I would use a very small amount. But it looked really amazing and velvety smooth and just beautiful on the skin, and it lasted very well throughout the day. It let my oils through in a nice way. It didn't look super greasy on the skin. I think my cheeks looked amazing, and my forehead, even though it felt like I had a million pounds of makeup, looked really good. I would say this is a solid 8 out of 10 for me. I think it looked really amazing on the skin. I would just have to be in a certain type of mood to wear this foundation, because it's not every day that I want to feel like I have a lot of makeup on my face, and even though it looked really good, it just felt super heavy on my skin. So this one I would recommend if you have a lot of problems on your skin, if you have some blemishes you want to cover up, or if you have scarring. It's extremely full coverage, probably the most full coverage out of all the foundations in this video, and it looked really good throughout the day. I think this is great for oily skin. Probably not the best for dry skin, because it's probably going to cling to some dry patches. So if you do have dry skin, I would say either steer clear of this one or use it with a very hydrating primer. Alright, so day number 3 was the Urban Decay All-Nighter. This day was actually a Monday, so I actually got to go to classes and see some of my friends and get some of their opinions. I gotta say, this day was not the best skin day for me. In my last class of the day, I actually asked my friend Rachel how my skin looked, and she said she was brutally honest. She was really honest throughout the entire trial, but she said on this day that my skin looked, and I quote, "flaky on your forehead, wore off on your chin, looks okay on your cheeks, but overall, not your best day, Julia." So I agree with that. I just think this did not look amazing on my skin. Probably just not jiving with my particular skin type. This kind of clung to the dry patches. It looked horrendous on my nose, which is particularly difficult to blend foundation on my nose just because it's such a weird area. And then on my forehead, it just looked nasty and dry. On my cheeks, it looked kind of shiny. Overall, it just was not my best skin day. So I think I might have given this a 6 out of 10 during the trial. Disregard that. This was a 4 to 5 out of 10. I think this just looked really bad on me. So I probably would not use this one again. I might try it with a more mattifying primer on my cheeks and a more hydrating primer on my forehead. But I just don't like the idea that I have to work so hard to get this to work on my skin. So this one was not my favorite. Day number 4 was the Huda Beauty Faux Filter Foundation, and this one was my favorite skin day of the entire week. I think this looked amazing. It felt very light on my skin when I blended it out, and it was kind of scented, so if you do hate scents and you're kind of sensitive to smells, I would say steer clear of this one. It's not going to be for you. This one wore very well throughout the day. The friend opinion that I got on this day was from my friend Diana, who I know watches some of my videos, so she might be watching this one. Hi Diana. But she said that this one was one of her favorites. She said it looked really nice on my skin. I looked banging apparently. And she said my skin looked really nice and velvety smooth. So I was really happy when I heard that because it's exactly what I'm going for on a daily basis. This one in my opinion wore the best throughout the day. It just looked amazing. It let my oils through on my cheeks in a way that looked nice and flattering. It didn't look like shiny or greasy or oil slippy. It kind of looked just glowy. It didn't patch up on my forehead. It just sat so well on the skin. And this one just gave my skin a nice velvety smooth appearance. So in terms of long wear, in terms of coverage, I think this one was the best of the entire trial. I gave this one a 10 out of 10 and I stand by that completely. And then day number 5 was the Laura Mercier Flawless Fusion. From the wear test, as you guys can tell, this was not my favorite foundation day at all. My skin just looked so dry when I first applied this one. I actually had to take it off the first time I applied it and work in sections instead because it's so hard to blend out. This dries very quickly, so I definitely recommend if you're going to use this one, work in sections. This is great for oily skin, I think, but I have pretty dry skin in certain places and pretty oily skin in certain places, so this was just not the best for me. It looked so weird on my skin. Again, my friend opinion from this day came from my friend Diana. She said that I looked very kind of powdery and dry, and I totally agree with that. I think I looked very kind of gross on that day. I looked very dehydrated and not healthy at all, which was kind of sad because I really liked my makeup day that day, and I think I looked nice on camera, but it just, this was not good in person. So again, this one was kind of hard to blend on my nose. It's kind of a finicky area for me in general. So unfortunately, I have to retract my stamp of approval from this one. I thought I really liked it, but turns out I don't. So I gave this one a 6 out of 10. It's not the worst foundation. It wasn't as bad as the Urban Decay one, but it's pretty bad. Day number 6 was the Hourglass Vanish Stick Foundation. This one felt like nothing on my skin. So in contrast to the Marc Jacobs one, which looked beautiful on my skin, this one also looked beautiful, but it felt like nothing. It was so easy to blend out. I love this foundation for a reason. It's just because it feels so effortless, and it's just one of the most easy foundations to use application-wise. It looks beautiful. This one also, my cream contour blended out so easily on this one. I thought this was one of the best bases I had in a while. I was actually really surprised though. I liked the Huda Beauty foundation, their end result, a lot more than I liked this one. Thought I was gonna like this one the most out of all the foundations, but the Huda Beauty one, I think it wore a lot better. It was much more long wear. This one I would say is great if I'm going to an event that's not gonna be like 12 hours long. So it did not last me through a full work day and a full class day, but still, it's one of my favorites in my collection. I love this one, and I wear this one to special events. I love this one. It's one of my favorites for like special events, and it's just so beautiful on the skin. So overall, this one I gave a 9 out of 10. Not quite as long wearing as the Huda one, but still absolutely stunning. And day number 7 was the Fenty Pro Filter Foundation. I think this is just kind of too dry for my skin to use on its own. So if I were to use this again, I love this one as a mixing foundation because it just gets everything to look so nice on my skin. So I always use this one for mixing into other foundations, but if I were to use it again alone, I would use it with a very hydrating primer, so the Hangover RX one. Overall, it worked pretty nicely throughout the day. My face stayed pretty matte, and it looked really nice on my nose, surprisingly. So I was very happy with that. It looked a little bit weird on my cheeks and just wasn't my favorite compared to the Huda one and the Hourglass one. So I gave this one an 8 out of 10 with the Becca and the Marc Jacobs ones. It was good. I would use it again, but I just would use it in different methods. So overall, the winner is Huda Beauty. I was actually so surprised. I thought this one would be like second place because I know that I love this one already. I just didn't think this one would edge out the Hourglass one, but surprisingly it did. So this was the winner for the full coverage high-end foundations from Sephora. That's a tongue twister, but I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm very surprised that the Huda one is my new favorite. I still love the Hourglass one, don't get me wrong, and I like all the foundations that I tried except for the Urban Decay and the Laura Mercier, but overall I had a lot of fun putting this one together. I am so excited to do the drugstore version of this one, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe down below and stay tuned for the drugstore version of this coming out soon. And if you made it to the very end of this video, I love you so much. Thank you so much for watching my channel. Bye.